Yo, what's up, guys? We're talking about having your peptides at room temperature. Now, obviously, using bacteriostatic water, which you guys should be doing anyways, is going to help store it. However, that can lead to a little bit of degradation, and along with just, like allowing the bacteria to go in, because eventually that, that bacteriostatic water is going to damage, it's going to like chew up that bacteria, and eventually, the bacteria can go in. Obviously, like, using smaller pins, like, 31s. I know a 31 gauge is like really good for that. If you don't have, if that's like, because I know a lot of people, though, they have different reasons for not wanting to put them in the fridge or whatever. It's like for privacy reasons or whatever stuff. I mean, obviously, that's going to be, something. I know some dudes, they'll be like, they'll use the acetic acid. That does help store it at room temperature. I don't know if that's super effective, but it's more effective. But yeah, the bacteriostatic can actually kind of like break down the peptides a little bit. But yes, generally a lower pH can help stabilize the peptides. So if you're using, like most of the peptides, like the growth hormone peptides, they'll usually come in an acetate formula. So it'll already have like the acetate attached to it, which helps it stay stable at, room temperature. And they actually use pretty high temperatures when they're cleaving the resin from the peptide. So, that little white, like, I guess, cake or whatever you want to call it, lyophilized stuff at the bottom of the vial, that's after cleaving it and lyophilizing it. So, I mean, if you want, you can get it in resin format. I don't know how safe that is, but if you can find someone that'll do that, best of luck to you. See how it works. I wouldn't recommend that, but hey, if it works, it works, and it's that's for you, man. So the second option I've seen is people actually like taking off the crimp and cutting up that little lyophilized powder. Like they'll cut up that little white little disc looking thing at the bottom, what's known as a cake, and they'll actually separate them into like different vials, nasal sprays, oral sprays, whatever. That is found to work. For your IGF LR3, you're supposed to, I guess for any of the IGF, especially the LR3, you're supposed to reconstitute it with acetic acid anyways, the acetic acid solution. And that's found to work. I mean, that's obviously what you got to do anyways, so, just do that. I mean, does regular water work? Yeah, it does, but I don't know if it's the most effective, but I mean, it has been found to work. As far as your other stuff goes, I mean, that's, if you're somewhere where you can't get like pins or whatever, you can't get syringes, you're gonna have to like try different methods. It is doable, but I'm just saying, as a general rule of thumb, I get why you can't do that. However, going on foot with that, there is MK677. There are other compounds you can use. Obviously, MK677 has some limitations, some differences that you might not get with other peptides. MK677 is not even a peptide, but, it can work. If you're trying to use like the retatrutide or the semaglutide, I'm not sure about that, but I mean, it is a longer peptide, so it's going to be harder to keep it stable at room temperature. Your shorter peptides, like your TB500, your BPC157, your ipamorelin, hexarelin, those like short peptides, they can last a lot longer. They're just less prone to degradation because they're shorter links. And so they're just going to be less prone to, folding, Of course, bacterial damage is still going to be there. Microbial damage will still be there. But you obviously just want to keep it out of sunlight anyways, especially UV light. But yeah, that should help for it. But yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, I know a few guys, they'll actually take off the crimp, cut up their little peptide powder, and they'll put them into like separate vials. If you know how to do that, that's good, but I understand if you don't always have the option for that. It can be a little tricky to get it right, but you know, using the bacteriostatic water, you're probably going to have to use acetic acid, definitely for sure with that, because I mean, you're exposing it to the open air. So, you know, take for that what you will. However, I hope this does help, and take care, y'all.